Hello YouTube, and welcome back to another video. As you can see by the title, this is going to be a video response to 8BitBoyUK. Now, I don't normally do toppers, top 10 videos, top 5s, all that sort of stuff. But this one, the subject kind of interested me and it got me thinking. So if it had been, I think the original tag was for your top best games, top 10 best games ever. I'm not going into that, it changes every other bloody week. I'll play something new, that's amazing, that's amazing. And I change my mind, it's just the way I am. So, this one on the other hand, top 10 most played games, kind of got me thinking, did that, about what are my most played games. So, I've come up with a bit of a list, and we're going to kick it off with a bit of an honourable mention. So, this game, probably, if I'd played one version of it, rather than all the different versions, all the different formats, would probably be about halfway up my list. But I haven't. I've always played different versions. So, we're talking Street Fighter 2. So, I've spent years playing Street Fighter 2, right from when it first came out. Everyone loved it back in the day, didn't they? Every arcade machine were always busy as hell, you could never get near them. Everyone had a copy on either the SNES or the Mega Drive. It's always just been a mainstay game in the Street Fighter 2. And like I say, the only reason it isn't further up this list, because I haven't ever just sat and played one version for a hell of a long time. So I've played Turbo, Hyper, Championship Edition, all the different versions on all the different consoles over the years, on all the PlayStations, you know, I've had pretty much every version of it at one point or another. So yeah, although I love the game, Street Fighter 2, and I've played it to death, put a lot of hours into it, I've never just sat and played one version. So it gets a lot of my time, but for that reason it's only getting an honourable mention. It don't make it into the top 10. So, here we go then. Number 10. Tetris on the Game Boy. Absolute classic game for me. One I can go back to time and time again, and have done over the years. Right from when we very first played it. So back in the day, I didn't have a Game Boy, but my mum did. And she was obsessed with Tetris. Tetris, Mario Land, and I bought a few other games to play on the side as well. But my mum was absolutely hooked on it, and it got me interested in playing it as well. So I've always found it one of those games that I can just switch off to. Always have done. And I've pretty much, over the last 4 or 5 years, I've pretty much always had a Game Boy. So I'll sell them, I'll buy them, I'll sell them, I'll buy them. I go through cycles of that. And the first game I always pick up is Tetris. It is such a quality game. I can sit and play it for hours on end, and I just never get bored of it. This time around when I got it, my youngest daughter got hooked on playing Tetris. I was coming home from work and I was finding her sat playing on my Game Boy, killing all my batteries, playing Tetris. And out of this list of games, so 10 most played games, I think it's one of only 3 games I have actually still got. So that says a lot for it. A lot of these games I've played them to absolute death, but I'm not that bothered about playing them again, because I've played them to death. Tetris, it'll keep racking up the hours for me. Till the day I die, I imagine. It's going to be one of them games, when I'm fed up, I'll pull it out and I'll just play it on the Game Boy. Absolutely love the damn thing. So yeah, definitely mainstay. Had a lot of hours put into it over the years. I couldn't say if these games are like in a proper order. I've never timed all the hours on these classic games. But it feels like it's in about spot 10, does Tetris. I have played it a lot, a hell of a lot, but nowhere near as much as a lot of the other ones on this list. So, moving on. Number 9. So, the number 9 spot goes to Grand Theft Auto 3 on the PS2. Played this to death back in the day. Absolutely hooked on it. And the reason I'm going to say Grand Theft Auto 3 rather than San Andreas or Vice City is with San Andreas and Vice City, although I played them both to 100%, I felt like everything was drip fed to you and you kind of got told what you had to do to finish the game. Whereas Grand Theft Auto 3, it was a lot of finding new things. You didn't know what you were going to find next, like the ambulance missions or taxi missions. You didn't know they were going to be there. The car importer ones where you've got exporter missions where you've got to find cars and take them to the docks. You know, you weren't explicitly told you needed these things to get the 100%. Whereas in the later games, you kind of knew what to expect. So the amount of hours I put in a Grand Theft Auto 3 figuring all that shit out, it's, yeah, unreal. Months I played that game. Absolutely months. And don't get me wrong, I played other games in between while I was playing that, but I'd always go back to that because I wanted to get that 100%. And I'm one of them people, I won't use guides and stuff like that, but back in the day, that game nearly drove me to use a guide. I never 100% completed it, and it is a bit of a stickler in my memory is that, but I never 100%ed it. But there was a couple of hidden jumps that I could not find for the life of me. So, who knows, maybe one of these days I might go back to playing that game again. I don't own it. I don't own any of the Grand Theft Auto or PS2 games because I played the shit out of them. And I don't really think I'd want to go back to playing them in all honesty. I loved them at the time, absolutely loved the stories, loved the hours I put into doing all the side quests and stuff like that. But I've been there, I've done that, I've beaten them. Great games, yeah, but I want games in my collection I'm going to play again and again. Am I going to play them games again? Not really that sure about that one. So, yeah, definitely a number 9 spot on my list. Put a lot of time into that one. But nowhere near as much as the next one. Number 8. The number 8 spot goes to Pokemon on the Game Boy. My God, I poured some hours into this game. I had Pokemon Yellow originally. I'll have been around 19, 20, somewhere around that age when I got this game. I was playing it on a Game Boy Color. It came with my Game Boy Color. My wife bought me it. And at the time, I wasn't that bothered. I was like, what's Pokemon? I started playing it and it sucked me in and it sucked me further in, and then I was addicted. Had to catch them all, that's all I was interested in, catching them all. I was obsessed with that damn game. I spent hours and hours and hours playing it. And then I realised some versions had certain Pokemon but the other versions didn't. So I went out and bought the other versions of the game. And I bought an extra Game Boy so that I could trade between and get all the ones I wanted. I would even like young lads at like 12, 13 years old, I'd be going up to them, do you want to trade Pokemon? That's how obsessed I was. It took me months and months and months, but eventually I got them all, I caught them all. Apart from, was it Mew, that was a giveaway that you had to actually go and get from an event. Never got Mew, but I got all the ones that were in the game. But that were only, probably, I don't know, a month's worth of gaming. Now I've played it again since. I've played it at least another 3 times since, from scratch, collecting them all across the 3 versions. So, if you add all that time up all together, the amount of times I've gone into searching through long grass for little Pokemon that have absolutely zero meaning, I'm never going to use to battle or anything, it's just a completionist thing, I have put a lot of time into that game. And I absolutely adore it, to be honest with you. I'm not one for RPGs, I don't particularly like RPGs. And worst of all for me is a JRPG, which is turn-based. Now Pokemon is both of these things, and for some reason it just gels with me. I really enjoy playing the damn game. I think it's more the completionist in me, loves tracking down all the little bits and bats in games. I've got to catch them all. It's just my mentality, I've got to catch them all. And I love hunting them down. So there's like safari zones in the game where you can just go rambling around in the grass trying to find Pokemon which only appear in these certain sections. Stuff like that. I could spend hours and hours, days and days tracking that certain Pokemon down. It's just my mentality. So I've put a lot of time into these games. I'm going to class it as one game because it is one game. There's just different Pokemon in different versions. So yeah, but even if it were just Pokemon Yellow, I have put a hell of a lot of time into it. Absolutely adore the game, brilliant. Don't own it at the minute, but I'm planning on buying it back because I know I will play that one again, definitely. On to number 7 then. Number 7, bit more modern, still not current gen or like that, but definitely a bit more modern. We've got Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 on the PlayStation 3. My God, I put some hours into this game. I really, really did. So at the time of owning this, it were current gen, it had just come out. I was working a weird shift pattern where we'd work dinner time till midnight. And me and a couple of lads who were working this shift pattern, we all got Modern Warfare 2. We were loving it, playing the shit out of it. And because of the hours we were working, we'd get home and all his families would be in bed. It's midnight, of course, they're all in bed, we've got to get up early for work. But when you get home from work at midnight, you're not tired, you need a few hours to chill out, don't you? So we'd get a bit of scran and then we'd jump online and we'd be playing all night, basically, till like 4 in the morning. You've got your normal online game, but then you had some like co-op campaign type missions as well. And we played the shit out of them, me and my mates. You had to get 3 stars across all of them to get the platinum, and me and the lads I played with all got the platinum. And there were some really tricky ass missions doing them on the 3-star difficulty. And there's some things called juggernauts, which are like heavily armoured soldiers, and you get smashed up by them things really, really quickly. We beat all the missions, absolutely smashed them. Spent hours and hours playing them. Then again, online playing it, the amount of hours I put into playing that online, prestiging and all the rest of it, it's a bit unusual for me to just be playing. I'm normally playing for a reason, aiming for something, because that's the completionist in me. So to just chill out and play a game, it was a nice change. I did get the platinum on the game, don't get me wrong, but I'd had it for a while. I'd beaten the story mode, the campaign mode, in veteran difficulty, pretty much as soon as it came out. Absolutely loved the story mode as well though. Not gonna lie, I thought it was one of the best Call of Duty story modes ever. The ending, absolutely epic. If you're not a fan of Call of Duty, I totally get it. Me personally, I love my first person shooters, and Call of Duty is the king as far as I'm concerned. Has been right from the PS2 era. Absolutely adore the games. Got the special editions of most of them. It's one of the games I still own is this one, and I have played through it again recently. Absolutely love it. So yeah, a deserving spot. And some really good memories of like playing with mates online. So that'll always hold a special place as well, because it's got such good memories tied with it. So, on to number 6. Number 6, back to the PS2, and we've got Gran Turismo 3 A-Spec. My God, was I addicted to that game. Absolutely hooked on it. Loved it to bits. And again, the completionist in me wanted all the cars. So not only did I spend all the time going through the licenses, getting all the golds, that is hard as hell, by the way. I also replayed the endurance races over and over and over again to get all the different cars that you could get. I replayed every part of the game over and over. Certain races you could get 3 or 4 cars from. So I just played them to death. I could literally play the game, doing the endurance races with my eyes closed for the most part. I used to sit on the couch with my wife. We'd be watching the big TV, whatever she were watching. I think she was watching Charmed at the time, something like that. And I'd have the little CRT down on the floor next to it, and I'd be watching TV rather than the game half the time. And I could literally play it with like one eye in the corner looking at it, because I knew the tracks off by heart. I'd played them that much. But not only was I trying to get every single car in the game, I was also boosting them all up to the max specs. I absolutely loved it. I mean, don't get me wrong, I played a hell of a lot of Gran Turismo 1 and 2 on the PS1, but 3 were a whole new level. Some of the tracks in that just blew my mind. There's one in particular that's got like sun rays coming through a tree canopy, and you could have some mint music blasting down the road, seeing that coming through, and it absolutely blew my mind. I thought the graphics on that were just so amazing. Looking back at it now, they're not even that cracking, but back in the day, I was absolutely blown away by how good that was. That game soaked up months of my life, and I enjoyed every damn minute of playing it. I really did. Generally, I'm more of an arcade style racer when it comes to racing games. I'm not that bothered about the simulation games, but the Gran Turismo games, for some reason, have always just got me. I've always hooked into them. Even like the concept games and stuff like that, I've always really enjoyed them. But number 3, by far has soaked up the most time out of all of them. I've played all of them up to 5, I believe. Yeah, 5 were the last one I played. Even the PSP version, I've beaten that as well, which is pretty much just a mini game, is that. But I've played all of them, and 3 is the one that's had the most hours by far. The rest of them never really hooked me in as bad, and I think it was because I was still quite new to the PS2, even though it were a while after the PS2's release. It was still growing on me, sort of thing. And that game, it was just something else compared to everything else that were on the system at the time. Graphically, musically, everything about it was just fucking amazing, and I just got hook, line and sinker into that game. I loved it. Months and months of my life playing that. Brilliant game. On to number 5. So number 5 is a bit more modern. Probably one of only 2 modernish games. And it's been out a long time. I actually got this game with my PS4. So, we are talking Red Dead Redemption 2. I have sunk a lot of effort into this one. Must admit, first time I played it, I was about 8 or 9 missions in, and I switched it off. Didn't gel with it at all. And then one day I'd beaten a few other games, and I still had that sat on my shelf, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to go back and give that another shot. So I started a brand new game, from fresh, and for some reason, it just gelled with me the second time round. So on the first time through, when I was like riding horses and stuff like that, it just didn't feel right good. The second time round, I just felt a bit more comfortable with it for some reason. I can't say why, don't know what the difference was. But as I was getting into the game and more used to the controls, everything just gelled. And I just got hooked again. It's one of them games that can proper drag you in. The storyline on it is absolutely amazing, proper top notch. It gives you the feels, it really does. When you get into the end of the game, you get the feels for the character. Anyway, that aside, just the stuff you can do in it. The side quests, amazing. There's so many of them, so many different routes you can take, so many different sidelines you can do. Little fine things like collecting all the animals and stuff like that. It's been a while since I've played it, but there's like a hat shop, and the hat guy who makes the hats, he needs certain feathers to make these fine fancy hats. So you got to go out hunting certain birds, and they only appear in certain regions at certain times and stuff like that. So, you know, to try and track all these sort of things down and get all these side missions done takes absolutely forever. On top of that, I went a bit of a step further and I decided I wanted to get gold on all of the missions. Wow, did that take some doing. But I did it. It took me a hell of a long time, let me tell you. But I did it. I went through and replayed them time and time again until I got it. But yeah, explored every single area, totally demolished the game. Never played it online, funnily enough. I was not bothered for online gaming at that point in my life. So even though I have soaked months of my life into this game, doing things that didn't even need doing. So I went round and like bought loads of different horses, different breeds of horses, different speeds, different colours. Didn't need to, I just felt like doing it because that's how much I was enjoying the game. I bought all the different outfits from all the different shops. You know, I went absolutely mental in the game. If it were unlockable, I went for it. If you could do it, I did it. I did all the offline trophies, even the daft ones like you got to survive some bear attacks or something. That was a hard trophy, that. But yeah, I did all the offline trophies. And looking at the online trophies, it wouldn't take me that long to get a platinum if I really wanted to. But I'm not that bothered. Like I said, I don't really play online anymore. I can't where I live now. My internet's that shite. But absolutely adored the game from start to finish. Storyline, the feel of the game when you get into it. It's just amazing. It really is. Definitely well worth a blast if you've not played it. It's highly recommended for me, is that game. There's not many storyline based games that drag me in. And that one really, really did. On to number 4. So going back in time a bit now, back to the N64 days, and we have got Mario Kart 64. What a game. So Single player, I would rate Diddy Kong Racing as king of the kart races on the N64. Multiplayer, it's Mario Kart 64 all day long. That game is built to play with friends. It's not built as a single player game. It's still good as a single player game, you can enjoy it, but the storyline ain't there. It's just basically going around tracks. The fun is playing with friends and beating friends and shooting friends at the last minute when they're just about to cross the line and taking their first spot. It's just brilliant to play in multiplayer. And this was around the era where I probably should have been finishing school, but I was just skiving off. And I spent a lot of time, me and my mates, skiving off, just playing N64. So Mario Kart 64 was an absolute mainstay. I had 4 pads, a few of my other friends had 4 pads as well, and we all had Mario Kart 64, so we were all good at it. And it was just absolutely brilliant. And not just the racing games either, like going around the tracks, but the battle mode too. So I'm guessing everyone's played it, but if not, you get 3 balloons attached to your cart, you're in basically like a little maze room, and you've got to destroy your opponent. Simple as that. You play that 4-player, it is absolutely hectic. There's green shells flying everywhere, bananas flying over you left, right and centre. It's amazing. Absolutely brilliant, brilliant game. And I've got so many good memories when I should have been at school of just chilling out with my mates, playing Mario Kart. Absolutely amazing. Wouldn't change it for the world. Who'd want to be at school when you can be tossing it off playing with your mates? Brilliant times, absolutely brilliant times. Such a good game. And on top of that, the single player game is actually a good game. That's it, it's just I had Diddy Kong Racing at the time and I thought the single player on that was better. But I still have beaten all the track records and everything else. I've played the single player game to death because we didn't have many games back then. So for my N64 I had maybe 6, 7 games. So you played them and you played them and you played them again. You played the death out of them, didn't you? It's what it was like. Didn't have money to chuck at everything, I wasn't working at the time. So you played what you had and you played it to death. Brilliant game. I don't own it at the minute, but I am going to buy it back. I'm just in no rush for it. I know I can play it, I know I'll still enjoy it. So it's definitely going to be getting back in my collection at some point. Right, on to number 3 then. Top 3 time. Number 3, we are staying with the N64. And I'm guessing this will be no surprise to some people what game I have spent the most time on the N64. That would be GoldenEye. My God, did I put some hours into this. So, again, all my mates had this game. We all had 4 pads. Whoever's house we were at, we were either playing Mario Kart or GoldenEye. But inevitably, it would be GoldenEye a lot of the time. I put so many hours into this in multiplayer. But not only that, single player as well. I unlocked every single cheat on my cartridge. Now, to unlock those cheats, you've got to play this game to death. Anyone who has actually beaten the game properly and unlocked all the cheats know the amount of hours it goes into doing that. You've got a certain time limit to get through the level on a certain difficulty to open the cheat for that level. And some of them are ridiculously tight. I mean ridiculous. But I've done it. I've been through the game. I have unlocked every single thing that ever could be in that game. And what did I do? I sold a spare copy of GoldenEye I had and I put my cart in by accident. What a dickhead. The cartridge had that bloody save on it, went to somebody who deleted it. I was absolutely gutted when I'd done that. But never mind, I'd have probably sold it anyway. I sold all my games, didn't I? But on top of that, multiplayer, like I say, Jesus wept, I put some hours into that on multiplayer. One day, me and my mate, he worked, I think I were on my days off, and my mate, he worked in a pub on nights. So we were just chilling around my house. In my first house alone, and we had a TV, and we'd worked out you could play it in vertical split screen rather than horizontal split screen. And we'd got like a couple of boxes. I'd not been living there long, so I still had some moving boxes. And we'd cut them down and taped them at the middle of the screen, and we'd made like massive shelves above us. And we were both sat in like one half of a little box each, so you couldn't see where the other person was. Because when you played the game as much as we had, if you saw a glimpse of where the other person was, you knew how to get there really quick before they got a good weapon, and you could smash them. But when you had no idea where the other person was, it could be a really tricky game in multiplayer. And we spent hours sat in these little boxes staring at the damn screen. And I can remember vividly, it must have been about 6 o'clock at night and it was winter. My wife came home, the lights were off, and me and my mate were sat in those little cocoon boxes staring at the screen, and she just went, "You sad bastards." And we both looked at each other and went, whatever, carried on. But yeah, we were playing like with snipers, and in one of the Siberian levels, I can't remember which one, and it was so brutal. Whereas a game, normally, if we had like a kill limit on it, it'd be over in 5 minutes generally. We were on them levels for hours with no time limit and just a kill limit, because actually sneaking around and playing it where you can't see where the other player is a whole different level. But yeah, I've got so many great memories of playing that game. Playing it with my brother as well. We used to play it to death multiplayer, me and my brother. So yeah, brilliant memories of it. Another game I will be getting back. Although last time I played it, there were a bit of rose-tinted glasses, I think. I could not get back comfortable with the controls again. So I play a lot of first-person shooters, modern day ones, and going back to the N64 controls, I found it a bit cumbersome. But I have played a lot more retro recently, and I'm getting used to like older control styles again. So hopefully, when I do get it, I'll gel with it again, because it is such an amazing game. And it's the game that gave me my love of first-person shooters. It really is. Such a brilliant game. Right, on to number 2 then. Can anyone guess what it is? So not everyone's cup of tea, this one. But it's Minecraft. I wouldn't even like to guesstimate how many hours I've put into this one. But my God, I spent years playing this game. Literally, years. And it was just by accident. I don't know what happened, really. My daughter wanted to play it, because a lot of YouTubers she was watching were playing Minecraft. So I said, alright, whatever. It was on the PS4, on the store, so I just downloaded it. Off she went playing, alright. And she was like, "Will you play it with me, Daddy?" So yeah, alright, no worries. Grabbed a pad, went, did a little building, didn't think much of it. Played again with her another time, still weren't thinking much of it. And then I needed certain blocks, and I couldn't find them. So I went exploring. And do you know what? I just kind of got lost in the game, I really did. So when I was playing with my daughter at first, there's 2 modes to it. There's creative and there's survival. And creative, you pretty much just get every block given to you. You're just building. It's like having a giant box of Lego, basically, with every block you can ever imagine. Build to your heart's desire. Crack on. That's what creative's like. And I didn't really gel with that. It just felt a bit aimless. Yeah, that's probably the word I'm thinking of. Aimless. So all it was fun playing with my daughter. I never felt like interested in creative. But then when I played it in survival, and you don't have everything given to you, you've actually got to find it or create it, it started getting a bit more interesting for me. And then when I realised you can get certain items by forcing certain spawn conditions and building contraptions to capture these conditions or force these conditions, and then collection systems, stuff like that, I was like, this is actually quite fun. So what I like is the technical side of it, not really the building aspect of it, although I do enjoy, I like making things. I prefer building the machines. So when I want an item in the game, rather than going hunting for the item and finding somewhere a million miles away where there is a few of them and actually sitting there and mining it, I'll build a machine that will automatically get me the item. And that's the part I like about it. So the same as with Lego, if I just had a big massive box of Lego, I'd be kind of bored. If you give me a big box of Technic Lego and said, here you are, build some machinery, and you've got all the cogs and the mechanisms and the movements and the motors, I enjoy that. I like that part of it. And that is the same in Minecraft. I like building the machines to get the items rather than going and getting the items. It's hard to explain. If you've never played it and never got into it, I can totally understand why you'd think it's totally shit. I can see that, I really can. Because it's a pointless game. There's no aim to it. Well, there's like a boss to beat at the end. But once you beat it, you don't get anything. You just carry on playing. So it is pointless. All the bosses that you beat in the game, I think there's like 4 or 5 bosses now. But they're pointless. You know, there's no real reason to beat them other than to beat them. You don't get anything for it. So yeah, there is no actual end goal other than surviving, creating, building things. That's all there is to it. So my whole enjoyment from the game comes from meching the machines to get the blocks to build things. And I just love figuring out how to make certain things spawn, how to block other things from appearing, how to funnel things into a killing chamber, stuff like that. I just enjoy making the machines that automatically get the blocks for you. And all you have to do is stand there and watch your machine give you your reward. It's brilliant. It's just proper addictive once you get into it. So yeah, definitely a game I have put a hell of a lot of hours into. A hell of a lot more than any of the other games. I imagine it's at least double any of the games that have come before in this list. But not only the PS4, I also had it on PS Vita, and I put a hell of a lot of hours into it on that. I had it on PS3, put a lot of hours into it on that, and I've also played it on the Switch with my daughter. But PS4 version alone, unbelievable amount of hours I've piled into that game, all for nothing. And then one day I just stopped playing it. No idea why. I couldn't tell you. I just stopped playing it. I may go back to it one day, who knows. I've still got it on my PS4. I'm sure I'll be able to download it on my PS5. So yeah, I probably will go back to it one day. I do enjoy playing it, but it just soaks up time. It really does soak up time. I've got the platinum on it, obviously. Quite an easy platinum in all honesty. But yeah, definitely the number 2 spot. Definitely. From the amount of hours I've put into it. An absolutely ridiculous amount of hours I've put into that game. So what can beat that? What's number 1? So, number 1. We're going to a game a lot of people probably wouldn't even class as a game. I was absolutely addicted to this one. And it was a mobile game on my iPhone. You can get it on any phone, but I had it on my iPhone. It was Pokemon Go. Now, I downloaded this within the first couple of days of its release. And I used to take my dog out for a walk around the local parks every day anyway. So I was walking around, and all of a sudden you've got your phone open, and there's a little Pokemon to catch. Spin it, chuck a ball, catch a Pokemon. Oh, this is cool. Just started doing it a bit while I was walking around with my dog. And then I started bringing in new features to the games. Like gyms where you could go battle other teams, stuff like that. It didn't take me long. I'd already massively been hooked on Pokemon in the past. And now I was getting to catch these same creatures, catch them all, yet again, that mentality that gets me every time. I was catching them all in the real world. I was hooked. Couple of days into it, that were me. I was absolutely hooked. I spent best part of 2 years, I'd say, maybe even longer, catching them all. And I caught all the Gen 1s, all the Gen 2s. And not only that, I'd go out on the community days and stuff like that. So there were like Facebook groups all over the place, left, right and centre were Facebook groups. And I were on them all. I knew people from all over, all around all the local towns. And they'd be like, oh, there's a big gym battle coming up, do you want to come down? Yeah, I'm there. And I'd be blasting down in my car, and then I'd be going to another town to do another battle and another one. Absolutely hooked on that game. On my days off from work, I'd spend 7 or 8 hours out and about just chasing around, catching these imaginary creatures on my phone. And normally I'd be out with mates and all. I made a lot of friends playing that game. It was brilliant, so good. But it didn't matter what the weather was like. I'd be out in snow, lightning, didn't give a shit. I was out there, I was catching these imaginary beings. Went to like special events and all that sort of stuff. There were an event in Manchester, I think it was, where they released some certain letters of the unknown. So me and my mate, we shot over to Manchester for the day. Went out, made a day of it, hit the pub, stuff like that. But we were just catching Pokemon all day long. And it was literally every weekend I was out and about. All my time off, out and about. My poor little dog had its legs walked off. But there were like special like 1 hour windows where you could catch certain bosses. And you got a chance to get a shiny and stuff like this by going and battling gyms. It happened like once a month. They'll probably still do it, to be honest with you. But me and my mates used to sit down and we'd plan car journeys of how many gyms we could get round as fast as we could without getting out of the car. So as soon as you started a gym battle, that was it. You were tied into that. And whoever were driving could shoot off to the next one so you could get another one in. And it was about getting as many as you could in that hour. So you had the most chance to get the best bosses. Of course, certain ones had certain abilities. So each Pokemon had its own IVs, which were like its internal values of how good it was. And the aim was to get the 100% ones. I had the majority of them above 90% when the time I'd finished it. But my God, I put some hours into that. There were other parts of it as well. You get eggs and you had to hatch like baby Pokemon. And the eggs were, I think it was 1 kilometre, 5 kilometres and 10 kilometres walked to hatch an egg. And I always had 10k eggs on the go and I'd hatch them every day. I was doing some right mileage. But I loved it, absolutely loved it. That's it. I met some great friends doing it as well. Out and about, meeting new people all the time. Community atmosphere when you were playing it was really amazing. And then one fateful day, I'd caught all the Gen 1s, caught all the Gen 2s, and it was like Gen 3 Pokemon coming out, Gen 4, and I'm like, I'm not into this. They just don't appeal to me. I don't know who they are, I've got no interest in them. And I just stopped playing. Like that, out of the blue. I'd spent so much money on that game, so many hours of my life dedicated to it, and I just stopped. Because that's what I'm like. I can just stop and start stuff like that. So like, I used to smoke. Overnight I just said, I'm not smoking anymore. Stop. I stopped. Same with gaming, same with everything. I can just stop, start whenever I feel like it. So although I'm addicted to video game collecting at the minute, if I said, I'm done now, I'd be done. It's as easy as that. I don't have that thing in me that keeps me going and going and going. If I want to stop something, I can. I've got a lot of willpower. But I think I just lost interest in playing Pokemon Go because it was the Pokemon that I wasn't aware of. So I played the first 2 games on Game Boy and Game Boy Color. And after that, I never really played them. So it didn't appeal to me as much. I think a lot of it was like nostalgia when I was catching these Pokemon, bringing back my memories of catching them the first time, wanting to catch them all, that sort of feeling. So when it came to the newer ones, I was like, I'm not interested, man. But my God, I put some hours into that game, I'm telling you. Week on week, out and about, every spare minute I had. I had one of them little Pokemon watch things, so I was just catching them wherever I was, even when I wasn't actually concentrating on playing the game, I was still playing the game. And yeah, I was out and about all the time. The day I stopped, I bet everyone breathed a sigh of relief around me. Finally get back into some gyms again without me coming and terrorising them, because I was an absolute monster on that game. But yeah, made some great friends playing it. I'm not gonna lie, it was amazing. The community feel when you were playing that game was absolutely stellar, really was. So yeah, that's by far the game I have put the most hours into out of all time, by far. So anyway, that's it, that's my top 10. If you've enjoyed that, why don't you make a response? It'd be good to hear what other people's top 10 most played games are. I figure some of them will be similar for a lot of people. They'll be like Grand Theft Autos and Call of Duty, stuff like that. A lot of people will be mad into them Elden Ring, Skyrim, I'd imagine. Not a lot of that stuff for me. I've never really been an RPG player. It's not my cup of tea. But yeah, I'd love to hear what other people's most played games are as well. So make a response, send it over to Ollie, and yeah, I'll see you soon with another video. Bye.